Dear readers, the divine plan is not a thing or event but rather a process of evolutionary growth that will result in a higher and more evolved collective consciousness on Earth. As Earth's energy becomes lighter and density decreases, increasingly more individuals will begin to align with and experience a higher sense of God, themselves, and God's creations. It is called a plan because that is what makes sense to the human mind. Earth's evolution is a given, because Earth is a spiritual reality, an expression of divine consciousness and not a piece of dirt to be used and abused. The game of separation has been played long enough and the time has come to embrace a higher level of reality. Much will unfold personally and globally as Earth's energy becomes increasingly more refined, allowing many familiar and accepted beliefs to be seen for what they really represent. Veils that have long hidden the self-serving agendas and strategies of those who thrive on power over and control, are dissolving. As high-resonating light energy flows to Earth, it automatically begins to dissolve density and the low-resonating creations of duality, separation, and many powers. You are witnessing this at this time. The chaos is the struggle of those attempting through any means necessary, to prop up and maintain the old energy structures they have long depended upon for the world dominance, power, money, and control they have long enjoyed. When you can truly accept that everything is an expression of one omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient divine consciousness, you will understand that, when people stop believing in, feeding, and giving power to false three-dimensional concepts and creations, these things will simply fade away, having nothing to maintain or sustain them. It is time for trust, real trust, but what is real trust? Trust as it is commonly understood is looking to or relying on some person, group, law, idea, or belief outside of self to be or do what is desired, needed, or expected. But because this concept of trust looks outside of self for that which only God has to give, it very often disappoints. Always be aware of what you place your trust in. Trust has become a catchword, an easy solution, especially with authority figures who often say, "Just trust God," but the God you are supposed to just trust is most often some concept of an old man in the sky that will look favorably on you if you follow his, the person's or organization's, rules. The answer really is to just trust God, but the God in which you place your trust must be the self-sustaining, self-maintaining divine consciousness or God that is fully present within rather than some man-in-the-sky concept. It means trusting that because God is infinitely expressing the fullness of itself as every person, the completeness and wholeness you have been seeking outside of yourself is already yours. However, your experience of this truth is proportionate to your state of consciousness. A consciousness already filled with duality, separation, and two powers has no room for reality. Seeking God and the qualities of God in a finite material world of concepts almost always leads to disappointment, but once you realize that as an individual expression of God you already embody everything you have been seeking, you can and will begin to manifest God's self-sustaining, self-maintaining completeness in forms that represent completeness for you. It is impossible for the finite human mind to fully understand an infinite God, so do not believe the ego-driven words of those who claim to know what God wants and what you must do or suffer dire consequences. States of consciousness conditioned with beliefs of duality, separation, and many powers simply cannot align with the high-frequency energy of the higher realms, and so, for most, even those who are far along the spiritual path, trust is very important. Trust your intuition, which is the voice of your higher self, and go within often to rest in conscious awareness of your oneness with everything you have ever sought or thought you needed. Trust that all is proceeding according to plan, God's plan, not man's. We are the Arcturian group.